Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to WorksheetCloud and to another new day. I hope that you are feeling good, and if you're not, think about ways in which you could talk to somebody about it, or perhaps think about what you are putting into your mind, because you must remember whatever goes in is going to come out somewhere. So if you're doing negative and anxious thoughts, you're scared, that's how you're going to feel. But if you're putting in positive thoughts and working on your mind, it does help a little bit. But obviously also speaking to somebody will always help. So let's jump into our lesson today. We are going to be looking at our daily starter that we always do. And then our lesson today is on prefixes, root words, and I've circled suffixes because we will do that in our next lesson. But they sort of go together, but my focus today is on prefixes and root words. So let's jump into your daily starter for today. So I want to know, how many words can you make using these letters? So all the letters in these blocks, but they've got to be more than 3 words. So you can't have a word like or, as in O-R. I like pizza or sushi. So not that, we need 3 letters, and they must be connected. So you can't jump from the P and then go to the E and then go to the A and then to the R to make the word pair. You've got to go next to each other. So for example, I'll do the word slate. S-L-A-T-E. That's a 5-letter word. So I want you to pause the video at this stage, try and see how many 3-letter, 4-letter, 5-letter, 6-letter words you can find. If you can find a 7 one, that would be even greater. So pause the video, and then when you come back, we'll go through them. So make a list: 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, are you ready? Let's take a look. Right, these were the ones I found. So I found 3-letter words: gap, G-A-P. There it is, G-A-P. Wrap, R-A-P. Knot, N-O-T. Tan, there we go, T-A-N. T, it wouldn't work over here, so we go there, T-E-A. Rag, R-A-G. Hug, H-U-G. Met, met, M-E-T, right over there. 10, T-E-N, where is that one? T-E-N. Zen, Z-E-N, and so forth. So there's were a whole lot, guys, that I found. I also found 4-letter words. I'll just show you a few of them. I found goat, G-O-A-T. I found tame, T-A-M-E. I found harp, H-A-R-P. So do you see how many you could actually find if you spent a bit of time? Some 5-letter words. Slate was the first one I told you about, slate. Tango. Let's see if I can remember where I found it. There we go. T-A-N-G-O. And obviously you could find tangos by just adding an S. T-A-N-G-O-S, tangos. And then groans. I didn't seem to find a 7-letter word, but if you did, well done. Perhaps send me an email just to say I found a 7-letter word, or even an 8. Okay, guys, so I hope you enjoyed that. Let's jump into our lesson for today. So we're looking at prefixes and suffixes. I'm just going to mention. So just so you know, you've got a root word, and that is the main word. And then sometimes we add a prefix onto the beginning or a suffix onto the end. So a prefix is normally at the beginning, and the word pre means before. So we fix something before the word. So we fix something onto a root word. And then suffix is at the end. So look at this word unhelpful. So the root word there is help. And then we've put on a prefix in the beginning. So we fixed it at the beginning, un. And we put a suffix at the end. Now, we're not going to do suffixes today, but it's good to know that you can change a word just by adding a suffix or a prefix. So the prefix un actually means not, or the opposite of, and then your suffix full means full of. So if you're cheerful, you're full of cheer. We know that just means you're happy. If you are undisciplined, it just means that you are not disciplined. So unhelpful means you are not helpful. So just remember, you've normally got a root word that normally stays the same before you add a prefix onto it. The reason I'm not doing suffixes today is because sometimes when you add a suffix onto the end of the word, it changes the root word the way you have to spell it. So we're just going to stick to prefixes for today. So let's take a look at the word preschool. So there's the root word is school, good. And then we've got pre that we've put on in the front of the word. So that means before. So you're going to preschool. Before you go to big school, you go to preschool, which we know is nursery school. And I know lots of people have gone to nursery school or to preschool. It just depends what you call it. But nowadays, most of the time, they call it a preschool or a nursery school. So there we go. Let's look at the next one. We've got submarine. So there again, this word mar comes from the meaning sea. So if I said a submarine, it means it's under the sea. And so that prefix there means under, sub. So I wonder if you could think of any other words starting with sub. So think about it if you can. The wonderful thing about prefixes is when you know what the prefix means, you can really just decipher a whole lot of words. In other words, you can, even if you don't know words in a passage, a comprehension passage, or in a book that you're reading, if you recognize the prefix, like sub means under, and you see another word with sub at the front, often it's going to help you understand what that word actually means. Let's take a look at autograph. So just so you know, this root word graph actually means drawn or written. Okay, and auto means self or the same. So do you see that this prefix auto, which means self or the same, that's your prefix over there, is you yourself drawing something. And we know that autograph means if you want to get Justin Bieber's autograph or somebody famous, it's their signature, their own writing. So there you've got self, auto, and drawn. So let's stop here. So think of autobiography. Think of automatic. So think of those words, even if you don't know what automatic means or autobiography, you know that the beginning part means something about self or the same. And then graph means drawn or written. So an autobiography is something about writing the person, and then you've got the bio in between. So that's quite a loaded word. But if you start just breaking words up and looking at what a prefix means, it's going to really enlarge your vocabulary. So let's take a look at this one. And now I want you to think about it. I'm not going to give you too many clues, but you know what a centipede is, most of you. And if cent or centi means 100, what do you think pede means? Centipede. So just take a moment to think about that. I'm going to sip my tea. Okay, great. I hope you got that a centipede is one of those, it looks like a little shongololo with a whole lot of legs. So a centipede must be something with 100 legs. So pede must mean to do with legs or walking. So let's look. Okay, I'm actually going to go back. Sorry, guys. So if I'm just stopping there at centipede, I want you to think about bipedal, the word bipedal. So if we think of bipedal, think of bicycle. What would that mean? We know bicycle has got 2 wheels. So bipedal, it's got the word ped in it from this word ped, which means to walk or legs. So bipedal means 2 legs. Centipede means 100 legs. So it's an animal with 100 legs. Well done, guys. Let's go on to this for today. So I've given you some prefixes on the left-hand side. Re means again or back. Un means not or opposite. Non means not. And auto means self. So if we look at some of these words, to redo something means to do it again. To restart means to start again. To reread means to read something again. If we're talking about undisciplined, what does un mean? Not. Means you're not disciplined. Or it's the opposite of discipline. And then unkind, not kind. Good. Let's look at nonsense. So we know, oh, you're talking nonsense. We don't really look at the word and see that it's made up of non and sense. So sense means that we understand it. So if it's nonsense, it's not making sense. So I know sometimes we speak so fast, you go, oh, that's nonsense. But have you actually stopped to think nonsense? And then we've got automobile. So the word auto means self. So self, mobile, you able to get into your vehicle and make yourself mobile. Okay, so just some interesting things. And I love this. I like nonsense. It wakes up the brain cells. That's from Dr. Seuss. Let's take a look at these prefixes. So on the left, you've got dis, miss, im, and extra. So dis means not, miss means wrong, im means not, and extra means outside or beyond. So if we look at the first one, disobedient just means not obedient. If you dislike something, you don't like it. It's not likable, something you don't like. Mistake, just realize that that miss means wrong, so wrongly taken. So either somebody made a mistake, so they did the worksheet but they misunderstood, so they've made a mistake. Okay, so it's wrong. Or mistreat, when you treat somebody badly or wrongly, you can say they were wrongly treated. So the word miss means wrong, and then impossible means not. So impossible means not possible. Immobile, so if I put im and mobile together, it means you're not mobile. You can't actually move yourself. And a lot of people in wheelchairs, we'd say are immobile. But obviously the wheelchair gives them a little bit of access, but they can't, without the wheelchair, be mobile. And so we say they're immobile, but with a wheelchair, they are mobile. And then extraordinary, I love this one. Sometimes we say extraordinary or extraordinary, and the word extra just means outside or beyond. So you're beyond ordinary. Think of extramurals. I don't know if your school calls it that. Some schools call it co-curricular activities, so after school or outside of school. And that's what, there's the word extra. Extramurals, they're beyond the school day or they're outside of the school day. And that's where you play your sport, which I'm sure lots of you are missing out on while we're in lockdown. Right, our next set, we've got pre, which means before, under, which means below, makes sense. Pro means for or forward, and sub means under, like we did earlier, submarine. So let's look at prefix, same thing. It means before I fix something onto another word. Okay, you fix it before. Preview, so you get to see something before it actually comes out. So sometimes there are previews to movies that you can go watch before the movie actually comes out. So that's the word before. Underneath or understand. So think about underneath. Obviously it means below, whatever you're looking at is underneath the desk. Understand. So we know that word just means that you know what you're talking about. So you actually understand something. The prefix there below is you actually just understanding what's below what's being said. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Then we look at pro and think of a professional. So pro is for, so you can provide for somebody or something, and to promote something is to be for it. So if I promote eating sushi, I'm for sushi, I can promote it. And often there's lots of different products that people promote so that you would want to buy them because they say it works, or it's the best shoe to have to play soccer and so forth. That's a promotion, or the way in which they put forward something that you should be interested in. And then obviously submarine, below the sea, and substandard. So if this is the standard, if somebody's substandard, they're below what they should be in terms of the standard. Okay, so let's look at just a bit of recap. When you're adding a prefix to a word, you simply just add the prefix to the beginning of the word. Okay, and the base word, so let's look at unhelpful. Here's help, and I've put un in front. Help doesn't change, the spelling doesn't change. So let's take a look at these. I want you to just pause the video, and I want you to take those prefixes. Re, which means again. Dis means not, and pre means before, and make up some words using any of these. Some of these can be used 2 or 3 times. So just pause, try and make up a whole lot of new words with your prefixes, and then when you come back, we'll go through them together. Right, are you ready? Let's jump right in. Right, okay, so there we go. Let me just move myself out the way. So taking the prefix re, which means to do again, we can replay. So we can, maybe you're watching something on Netflix and you've seen it, but you want to replay it. You want to watch it again or play it again. Return, you want to take something back again. Preheat or reheat. So there you've got the reheat. So it's already been made. Like sometimes, last night, for instance, I made lasagna. And then today we've got leftovers. So now for lunch, my children are going to reheat that so that we can have it hot again. And then we've got preheat. So that means to heat before. So it's like when you are baking or you want to cook something in the oven, you turn on the oven and you wait for 10 minutes. You preheat the oven before you're going to put the food in so that the oven is nice and hot. So that pre means before. So before you actually cook the food, you want to heat up your oven. Dismount means you're not getting on top. So if you mount a horse, you're getting on top. If you dismount, you're not getting on top, you're getting off. Dis-ease, I know sometimes, just like that other word where we say extraordinary or extraordinary or nonsense or nonsense, depends where you put your, I've now lost the word that I'm thinking of. Where you emphasizing the word. If you say present or present, where are you stressing the syllable? So dis-ease means you're not at ease. But if we're talking about a disease that you have, like cancer, and my mom had cancer, so that's a disease, that's a dis-ease within your body. So your body is not at ease. It's got things that are fighting to try to keep your body and get your body healthy again. Dissolve or dissolve, that means that we are trying to, like solve is the root word, and if you dissolve, you're actually getting it to mix in within the liquid. Preview, very similar to the one we looked at earlier, to preview a movie. And then review is slightly different. Means to do it again. So preview, you've watched something before, but a review is you've already seen it and now you're viewing it again. So sometimes you need to review your parts of speech. Nouns, verbs, adjectives, conjunctions, prepositions, and I'm sure your teachers are on you all the time to go over those. So that's review. Go over those things again. View them again. And then we look at preschool, which we spoke about. Before you go to big school, you go to preschool. To redo something means to do it again. To recover or to recover. Do you see the stress of the word there? You can recover something. So, for example, maybe I've got a cover on this book, but I want to recover it. So I want to cover it again. Or you can recover from being sick, from having the flu or something. So you were fine, but now you recover, you get better again. Okay, dishonest means not honest. That's an easy one. And restate means to state something again. So to say something again, to restate it. Okay, I hope you're getting the hang of prefixes. So now let's take a look at these. I want you to try these. So pause the video again, find the word that has got a prefix and tell me what it means. So for example, in the first sentence, there's one there. Tell me what the prefix means and the root word. Together, what does that mean? Okay, so when you come back, we'll go through that. Right, are you ready? Here we go. So I made sure to take the pre-test. So it's the test that you're going to do, but you do a test before the actual test. So it's obviously something just to help you be on top of your work. Sometimes your teachers will give you a pre-test before your actual exam or test or task. I had to reorganize my backpack before coming to school. So think about means to do again. So organize, you have to redo or organize yourself again. That backpack, which I'm sure most of you have had to do now when you've come back to school after the holidays. I want you to just look in that sentence, backpack. I hope you will remember from previous lessons with your teacher or from last year that backpack is actually a compound word. So it brings two words together, the word back and the word pack, and we bring them together, backpack. Okay, so that's not an example of a prefix. The next one, we learned about the postmodern era in history class. Post means afterwards. So we learned about the modern era, the era after the modern era in our history class. So what happened after that modern era? We learned that. My parents bought a new automobile or automobile. Mobile, remember, means to be able to move around. Auto means self. So your parents were able to buy themselves a new car. Now, if you look at the word, it just means that they themselves are able to get in the car and physically be mobile, move themselves about by themselves. The next one, the entire school had to wear the uniform. Uni means one. So we've created a uniform that represents one group of people. So that's uniform, one form. I rode my bicycle home from school with my friends. Again, remember, bi means two. So a cycle is to do with circles, like the life cycle of a frog. Think of the cycle. We've got two of those cycles, two of those wheels, because it's a bicycle. So think of tricycle or tricycle, three wheels. Okay, so now if you had another word with biography or biome, you can think it's something to do with. Two, obviously if you've got bio, which is B-I-O, that's another prefix which means to do with life or living things. So a biome is a study of different environments, living environments. So bio means living. But if you see just BI on its own, just remember it's to do with two. I think you do a lot of that in science, monocotyledons and dicotyledons. And so this is where your prefixes will come in and help you in your other subjects. So let's look at the BI. Bifocals, bi-monthly, biannual, biceps. Okay, so remember we spoke about two. So look at your bifocals. I've put a picture in there if you're not sure. My one daughter really struggles with her eyesight, and so she's had bifocals for quite a while, since she was very little. So from about 7, she had to wear bifocals, and that just means it's got two different lenses in one. Sometimes you can see it on the glass, and sometimes what they do is they sort of merge it in so you don't actually see that little line there. But not that it's for old people, but a lot of old people, you'll see they've got bifocals. So when they look up straight, they're looking through that lens, and when they look down, they're looking through this lens. So there's two focal points, two ways in which they can focus, up here or down here. Biannual, annual means a year. So if we're talking about biannually, we're talking about twice a year. Bi-monthly, the same thing. See, if you don't even know what the word means bi-monthly, think about BI means two. Oh, so 2 in a month, twice monthly. And then biceps, you know that we've got these muscles here, 2 of them, your biceps. Right. Sorry, I seem to have a little fly that's wanting to spend some time with me. Right, think about this. So let's look at the example. You've got unicycle and uniform, and we spoke about that in the one thing. A unicycle is like a bicycle, the cycle, circle, but it only has one wheel. It's called a unicycle. I don't know if you've seen some of those. Sometimes it's at a circus or fun fair that you see unicycles. And then uniform, again, I spoke about that. It's one type of clothing for a group of people. And uniforms aren't only at school. I'm sure you've seen when you've gone into Pick and Pay or into Woolies or even Game. Sometimes they have their coloured shirts with a little logo, Game or Woolies or Pick and Pay. So even some companies have a certain type of uniform for their group, one kind of set of clothing. So let's look at these two. Afternoon, afterthought, illegal, illegible. So they start with the same prefix, afternoon, afterthought. So I want you to just pause, just for a few seconds, think about them. How could you explain to me what the word after means in light of afternoon and afterthought? And then especially the second one is a little bit it's a little bit more difficult. Illegal and illegible. What do you think that IL means in terms of illegal or illegible? If you know illegal, it'll help you with illegible. So pause, and when you come back, we're going to talk about it. Right, here we go. So afternoon, afterthought, after, yes, so it's something that's coming. Okay, it's not something that's happened. It's so in the noon. So noon is normally 12 o'clock. So if we're talking about afternoon, we're talking about after lunchtime, and that would be the word afternoon, which we sometimes take for granted. We don't really think about how the word is broken up into two parts. Afterthought, so that is maybe you went somewhere, and when you got home, you thought, oh, I should have done this. So you thought about something that you could have done after the fact that it happened. Okay. And then we've got illegal and illegible. You know that illegal, if something's illegal. So right now I know it is illegal. It's not legal. We're not allowed to leave our houses unless it's for essentials and unless you're part of an essential service that's needed. So illegal means not legal. It's something you're not allowed to do. So what do you think illegible means? It's not legible. Do you know what legible means? I'll give you a sentence. I was marking a child's book and the writing was illegible, wasn't legible. Good. I couldn't read it. So the writing wasn't clear. It was not legible, illegible. Great. Right, so there I've just put them as a recap. Something that happens late in the day, when you think of something after it's happened, something you should not be doing, and it's something that you can't read. Okay, the writing isn't clear. Great, guys. So here, I want you to identify in these sentences, sometimes there's two in one sentence, highlight or just write down for me the two words that have got prefixes in them, and then also try and see if you could explain to me what that word means. So for example, in number 1, according to the weather forecast, there will be midday showers today. Can you see it? Forecast and midday. Can you explain to me what you think forecast means? What does the prefix for mean? And midday, what does mid mean? And then when you come back, we'll go through it together. Right, how did you do? So forecast, think for means before. So you are casting or putting out there. Cast means to sort of throw out what's going to happen before it happens. Midday, think mid means middle. Okay, so midline is the middle line. Midday is the middle of the day. Good. Disappointed, so you can be appointed to some kind of position or within yourself. You feel okay about something, or you can be disappointed. So you're not really chuffed with what's happened. And then semi-final, semi, I wonder if you know about a semicircle. So then the semi-finals means you're halfway there. It's not the final, it's the one just before. The doctor prescribed a course of antibiotics to combat Joe's ear infection. Prescribed, so he wrote something beforehand. And antibiotics, biotics, bio is to do with life. So if we're giving you antibiotics, we're trying to deal with that disease that's in your body, and so we're trying to go against the negative and give life to your body. Antibiotics. So anti is against those negative things inside your body when you've got an infection. Kayla made a mistake. Comes from the word miss and take. Okay, so wrongly taken. So when you were writing down something, you understood it incorrectly, and so you made a mistake. And her answer was incorrect. So in means not, so it was not correct. It was hard to decipher Zoe's handwriting, so her teacher asked her to rewrite her essay. So that's like illegible. So decipher, cipher means to do with a script, and to decipher means to be able to uncover or figure out what it means. So the teacher couldn't figure out her writing, and so she had to ask her to rewrite it, to write it again. And number 6, my mom is unhappy. My moms do get unhappy sometimes, so not happy when I interrupt her phone calls to ask her for snacks. Okay, so I hope you did okay with those. Let's move on to And this last one, this is a quick one, and then I've got a video for us to just quickly look at. To change these into opposites, often all you need to do is add the prefix un. So you can be worthy or unworthy. You can behave. You can't unbehave, but you can misbehave. Good. Mis means wrong. So you can behave wrongly. Likeable, you can be unlikable, so people don't like you. The door can be locked, or you can unlock it, so it's not locked. Unhappy, not happy. Unkind, not kind. Unusual, not usual, not that we normally see something that's supposed to be happening. Afraid, you can be unafraid, so you're not afraid. You can be unwilling, so you're not willing to help. Or you can be unfriendly, so instead of being friendly, you are being not friendly, unfriendly. So do you see how easy it is to create the opposite using a prefix like un? So right, we've come to the end of our lesson. So I've got a video just to recap for you, which we're going to watch now. And then just remember that you've got your activities that you can do at the end of this. And if you've got any questions about today's lesson, you can email me at grade6@worksheetcloud.com. So let's just watch our video quickly.
The sound that comes before a root word is called a prefix. A prefix. When the prefix is added, it changes the meaning of the word. That's what a prefix does. Re, R-E means again, again, again. Read, reread, reread, replay, redo, rewrite. The sound that comes before a root word is called a prefix. A prefix. When the prefix is added, it changes the meaning of the word. That's what a prefix does. B-R-E. B-R-E means before. 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 Pre-wash. Wash. Pre-wash, prefix, preschool, pre-pay. The sound that comes before a root word is called a prefix. A prefix. When the prefix is added, it changes the meaning of the word. That's what a prefix does. Un, means not happy. Unhappy. Unhappy, untied, unafraid, undo. The sound that comes before a root word is called a prefix. A prefix. When the prefix is added, it changes the meaning of the word. That's what a prefix is.
Okay, I'm going to stop there. I know grade 6s, it can be a bit corny, but the thing about jingles and irritating sounds is you just tend to remember them. So I hope that it's helped you remember a few things about what a prefix is and how you can use it to change the meaning of a word. So nothing more from me except to say thanks for watching grade 6s, and I'll see you in our next lesson. Same time, probably the same place. Bye guys.